After a one-year journey, Sea Pearl made it back to her home port of Captiva Island, Florida. Follow us as we wake up near Cape Sable in the Everglades and make the trip home just in time to spend Easter with the family. It's been a long journey and the weather rarely cooperated. We were needing a shoreside break.
Sailing sucks. The wind's never right.
Here we are in the Florida Everglades. This is a coastline of Florida that we haven't seen too much of. We slept outside of Cape Sable last night. We have been there once before. We trailered a boat to Flamingo once and stayed at the campground there and just took the boat out. So we have been there before, but we had a beautiful pod of bottlenose dolphins this morning. I would say there was about 20, which we were excited to see again. In Bahamas, when we saw bottlenose, we either saw one or two, so we didn't see any big pods. And so for us, always on Sanibel and Captiva, if we saw 15 to 20 dolphins, we were like, oh my gosh, there's so many in this pod. I mean, it's all relative based on the species and the geographic area that you're in, but so it kind of feels like we're home. We're back in the Gulf of Mexico, and the water down here is really, really brown. So that is one thing we're missing from the Bahamas, is just that clear water. But it is amazing to be back and see so many birds. It is extremely quiet out here. We had 2 other sailboats at anchor at Cape Sable and a couple of flats boats, but it's really, really peaceful, this part of Florida. You can really just get away from the crowds and the noise and the traffic. So we enjoy it very much. Well, we were back in Key Largo. We rented a car and we drove to Fort Myers, and part of that reason was we thought it would be best to leave the dogs with family, because we knew traversing through the Keys / the Everglades, we didn't really know our set plan of how long we were going to stay down here and what we were going to do, but we've spent enough time down here that we did know it would be challenging with the dogs to find places for them to go potty on land. And Dawson definitely, he'll go on the trampoline, but he'll hold it for, I mean, he'll hold his pee for more than a day before he'll go. So he's more stubborn, especially if he can see land. He's kind of like, why aren't you taking me to land over there? I can see it. And so he'll hold it. But we also so we just didn't want to do that to them, the stress of you know, we just didn't want them to feel stressed out about potties, not getting off the boat for days on end. And so we thought they'll just be happier with family, and they are having a great time. We're getting lots of pictures and videos of our boys, and it's just less stress on Steve and I that we feel when, you know, the dogs are stressed and not going potty, then it stresses us out. So we're having a kid-free vacation, I guess. Every parent needs that. So it has been nice for us to just focus on the boat, focus on getting us back to Fort Myers, and not feeling stressed, although we do miss them. Although we do miss them a lot, they're our babies. We'll be reunited soon, but it has been a good choice for us to leave the dogs with family. Another reasoning for us to leave the boys back with family is we're back in Florida. We're back in gator and croc territory, which we didn't have in the Bahamas. I made mention that in one of my videos, how I love just pulling up to beaches, letting the dogs jump out, and I don't have to worry about a gator or croc sitting there in the mangroves. But that is always a concern that I have. I've always had that, you know, a gator or croc, mostly a gator, because there aren't really that many crocs in Florida, but, you know, taking my dog. So it is also a big relief that, you know, I don't know, even if they like jumped off the dinghy or fell off the dinghy, I know my initial fear would be like, oh my God, you know, we're just like in alligator territory. And today Steve and I want to explore a part of Florida we've never been to called Snake River. Mangroves, I'm sure we'll see lots of gators, birds, but it just wouldn't be something that we would take the dogs on anyways. Just adventuring down in the Everglades. Every time we've come down here, we don't bring the boys. So that was another reason for bringing them back to family, is so that we can have these little kind of Everglades exploration time and just not have them with us gator bait.
There I was in this vast body of water, known as the Gulf of Mexico, looking for wildlife and crab trap buoys.
The mooring ball minefield out here, which we knew because we had been, well, at least we've been the flamingo of the Everglades area by boat. Where we are now, traversing north along the coast of the Everglades, we've never been by boat, but we have seen other YouTube channels where people talk about all of the crab pots out here. So it's definitely a place you don't want to do at night. Unless you have good moonlight, you can see these pots, but there are crab pots everywhere. All this green watercolor reminds me of home. Sanibel and Captiva will always be home. Even though we don't plan on living there year round, still where Steve's family's from, where I've lived for 10 years, where we met, where we got married, where we raised our little boys, where we bought a house, lost the house. So it still feels like home. It's really nice to be in the Gulf of Mexico again. There's certain things about the Gulf that are extremely special, and I do look forward to getting back and seeing manatees. Love them. They're so cute. We did see a loggerhead sea turtle out here. I didn't grab the camera in time, but that also, I don't know, it just made me get excited for sea turtle nesting season this summer. and we're getting all the feels right now. We are bringing sea pearl home. That's a good feeling. Go check on Captain Steve back here at the helm, doing all the hard work. It's Captain Steve's update.
Sailing sucks. The wind's never right. That's my update.
As we made our way back to Fort Myers, we were on a time schedule rather than a wind schedule, and all the motoring started to weigh on Captain Steve, so I decided to take over the helm. Motoring at 6 knots for days on end has a way of dragging you down mentally, especially when you are eagerly wanting to get to your next destination. For the sake of covering more water, we decided not to take the time to explore Shark River and kept on moving. I spent the afternoon playing with dragonflies, and we anchored at sunset off of Key Biscayne Island in between Marco and Naples.
Did you get that?
Bringing the sea pearl back to where my life began, Hendry Creek. It's been quite the journey.
It was a cold morning.
Yeah.
So traffic is stopped on the bridge. Bridge is going up. Concentrating, going through the bridge, Fort Myers Beach, that connects Fort Myers Beach to Lover's Cay. We've been here on small boats before. Sea pearls going through.
Most pleasant bridge crossing experience in all the state of Florida. You had yourself a great day.
Welcome to Fort Myers Beach. Happy Easter. Have yourselves a wonderful day yourself.
Brought Sea Pearl back to Stero Bay and Hendry Creek, where I was born and raised in Florida. Feels good.
Easter brunch at Steve's family's house. We haven't seen the boys in a week, so we're excited to surprise everyone that we made it back for Easter brunch.
Hendry Creek.
And
that's where we go noodling for mullet.
There's amazing apple bites on a tree over there. Our map. Steve's our guide, Hendry Creek.
The next morning, it was time to move Sea Pearl from Fort Myers Beach to Captiva Island. The bridge operator let us know that Big Carlos Pass Bridge will be transitioning into a fixed bridge in the next year or so. Sea Pearl is too tall to go under the fixed Matanzas Pass Bridge on the northern end of Fort Myers Beach, so that means no more going under bridges in this area for us. Nice. Good job. Good job, Captain.
Yes, sir.
We're off Sanibel with Sea Pearl.
After a 1-year journey away, Sea Pearl made it back to her home port of beautiful Captiva Island. We bought her on the East Coast in Coconut Grove, spent some time in the boatyard in West Palm Beach outfitting her for cruising, survived hurricane season at Brunswick Landing Marina, then fulfilled our dream of cruising the Bahamas. We went to Bimini, the Berries, New Providence, Exumas, Long Island, and Andros. We crossed the Gulf Stream from Bimini to Key Biscayne twice. On our return journey, we headed south to the Keys, transiting through the Snake Creek Bridge in Isla Mirada, rounding Cape Sable in the Everglades National Park, and brought her on home to Captiva Island. We are back in Southwest Florida where the manatees roam for now. It was a journey of 1,850 miles, one that we yearned to complete for many, many years. We've learned so much about cruising, made many friends along the way, solved every problem that came our way, and grew together as a family. We made core cruising memories that will last us a lifetime.